Hey, what's going on everyone? Today I'm going to be doing my first YouTube tutorial on Counter-Strike 2 movement. What does this involve? This involves counter-strafing, this involves crouch jumping, we'll do a little bit of peeking practice, and yeah, so without further ado, let's just get straight into it. First, let's get into counter-strafing. Counter-strafing, not to be confused with Counter-Strike, is a form of stopping your movement earlier than normal. So if you look at my keys here, when I hold down the right key, D, and let go, there's a delay from when I let go to when I fully stop, which is a very big issue in this game because in Counter-Strike, your bullets are only accurate when you're standing perfectly still. If you're moving, you can see the blue, all the blue marks are where my bullets are hitting. And if you're moving, very inaccurate. And when you're moving to a stop, it's still inaccurate. You see here, you see how it's way off my crosshair? I let go of the movement key and it's still way off. By the way, if you're interested on how I'm showing these, you can open your command console. You have to enable it in your settings first and you do SV show impacts 3. 3 is server side. So this is basically what the server sees for impacts. Yeah, back to this. So you're very inaccurate when moving and there's an easy way to stop this. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to hold to the right or left, and then instead of just letting go of the button and come into a slow stop, you want to tap the other button in the opposite direction. So for example, if I'm going to the right, you can see I'm holding down D, and then I tap A. It's a lot quicker. If I'm going A, I tap D, tap A, tap D. And it's a very big noticeable difference when you're actually playing the game, because what commonly will happen is, say someone's right here and you peek and you go for the first shot, and if you don't counter strafe, you're like, why isn't this hitting him? Because you're not fully stopped. You see all these blue markers are going everywhere, here, over there. But when you counter strafe, you can be very accurate very quickly. It also lets you peek a lot faster too. The amount of time they see you from this compared to that is much less, and it's much harder for the enemy to react. So that's the first, that's the very first basic thing. It's called counter strafing. Next, we're going to learn how to use counter strafing to peek your enemy. So when you peek in CS2, you want to be, there's a few ways you could do it. One of the ways is, it's called a wide swing, which is basically, say there's an enemy playing right here, which is a very common position in Mirage. There's an enemy right there. So one way to do it is you just swing wide and you shoot. This can work. There's definitely times when this is good, especially maybe against like an operator, or if you're just trying to catch them off guard. But another way that's commonly more practiced and that's more practical, especially in the scenario of taking a site, is you want to limit your body to how much you're exposed to. So if you swing like this and you shoot, you're exposed from here, you're exposed from here, you're exposed from here, someone's playing there, if someone's on top there, you're exposed from there. A lot of different things. And basically you're putting a very big bet that the enemy is right here and I'm going to kill him. When you peek and when you use your counter strafing that you learned, you can peek a lot less angles. And this helps isolate 1v1s, which is a very important skill, especially in like 1vx's clutches, so like if you're 1v3 or 1v2. So what you want to do is you want to use your counter strafing abilities. So you hold D and then you tap A. And you want to do it like right when you're about to peek. I recommend going into an offline practice and literally just doing this over and over again until you get the hang of it. Once you do it enough, it should be second nature. And then if you want to like actually make sure that you're doing it correctly, you make sure you turn on the bullet impacts, like how I showed in the last clip, show impacts 3. And you want to just tap every time you move. Every time you change direction. See, that was a bad one. It ended up over there. So you want to go like, see how every single bullet is landing right when I counter strafe? You want to shoot the second that you tap the button. So if you hear my shot sounds, and you see when I'm tapping the opposite direction, like A or D, if it's easier, you just do one side at a time. And see, I'm not perfect at it. I still have a couple that end up over there, but for the most part, you can do one side, and then when you're comfortable with that side, you do the other side. And I recommend just doing this for like a minute straight. And honestly, it doesn't take that long, and you get used to it. But eventually you can be very good with your counter strafes. And with the counter strafes, you can peek your enemies a lot better because you can peek like this. You can boom. Especially, it's very helpful when you know where the enemy is. You see how like almost every single shot is perfectly accurate and how little time I'm spending peeking, versus if I was like just swing out normally and wait to come to a complete stop. Or even worse, if you shoot before you come to a complete stop, you get bullets over here and then your spray's all messed up. So that's how you can use counter strafing to peek. Next, we're going to talk about jumping and jump crouching. So there's a few areas in this game, not many, but some, where you need to jump crouch in order to reach a certain spot. One example for here is on A-Side Mirage. This box right here, if you just jump, press space, nothing happens. You cannot get up here, no matter how hard you try, unless you get a boost. However, there's a thing called jump crouching. Jump crouching, you don't hold crouch and then jump. You want to press the crouch button right when you're like about to like hit the box of where you would land. So if you look at my keyboard, I'll press control like right when I'm at like the top of my jump, and you can climb up. There's a few places in the game that are like this, but basically this allows you to see up here too. You can't get up here normally. If you crouch jump, you can get up here very easily. So yeah, it just takes a little bit of use to it, but basically just tap control. Do it from over here. Tap control right when you're at the apex of your jump. Takes some getting used to. I'm no expert, but it also helps you make like longer jumps that you didn't think were possible before. But you jump. I don't know if that jump is possible, but either way, you get my point. You can reach spots that are not accessible otherwise just by learning how to do this. And yeah, so I recommend just going into a practice area and trying that out. And once you're able to jump up spots, you can learn there's actually a lot of spots that you can jump up. I think this is one, but maybe not. I know there's a few places that you can jump up, but yeah, just practice that, and then you can get to spots such as Ticket Booth here without needing a boost or any other help. Next, we're going to talk about shoulder peeking. Shoulder peeking is a tool that you can use when you know someone's holding an angle, particularly with an op, and you really don't have any util or any other options to try to like get through them. So if you say, for example, there's an operator holding down this angle, and it's 1v1, you have no one else to worry about. One thing that you can do is with your knife out, you can try to bait out a shot with the op by very quickly peeking. This is when you're going to use your counter strafe abilities that you learned before, but instead of just tapping and letting go, you're going to just run back. And what this is going to do is the operator is going to see you just for a split second on their screen. And when they see you, they'll hopefully take a shot and miss. And then when they take a shot, you can reposition, you can cross, you can reposition, you can try to catch them off guard on the repeat, especially if you have your crosshair at head level. And yeah, it's a very useful tool, especially when you're out of util options. I don't recommend it as your first option because you literally are just peeking, hoping that they miss and that your strafe is good and that you don't get net coded and killed behind the here. But if I'm out of util and there's an operator holding this angle and I'm low on time, don't have any other options, sometimes you got to do what you got to do and you just got to peek. Sometimes I can peek really close like this. Sometimes you can peek very far. But either way, yeah, just one tool to help you try to challenge operators and take space that you wouldn't normally be able to take. All right, last thing we're going to talk about in this video is some skill jumps. Particularly, we're just going to stay on Mirage, but using some of the crouch jumping that you learned and some other things, you can make certain jumps that, especially as a new player, you wouldn't think would be possible. For example, one very useful thing is to be able to jump from bench into window without a boost. So it is possible. So it takes some map knowledge, but for example, you can stand on like the upper part of here. You want to be on the upper part, and you can jump onto here. You don't really want to try to do it from a standstill. It's very hard from a standstill because you build up momentum and you see you're just way too short. So what you're going to do is when you move in CS in the air, you use your mouse to move, and you also can use like WASD. So if you see when I'm in midair, you see I can stop my momentum in midair. It's not like real life where you can just stop in midair. But in order to do this, you're going to use both your mouse and you're going to use your keyboard input. So pay attention to when I'm going to be pressing the D key to make this jump. Basically, use your mouse and you press the D key to keep your momentum. And then you're also going to combine it with a crouch jump just to make it easier. You can make this jump. I tested it before this without crouch jumping. It just makes it a lot more consistent, especially under pressure, if you crouch jump. So, for example, I'm going to hold W, and then I'm going to hold D, switch to D when I'm in midair. So, again, hold W. Right when you get airborne, you're going to let go of W, and you're going to start holding the D key to go right. If you're going to the left, then you're going to hold A. If you've ever done surfing in Counter-Strike, if you know what that is, it's similar to that style of movement. But basically, yes, you're going to run, and then you're going to crouch jump. And then when you get here, you can, again, normally you can't jump up here, but you can crouch jump. And you can get into windows, which is a very powerful tool, especially on Mirage. You can even do it mostly quietly. It takes a little bit of skill. I'm not perfect at it. I took one step right there, but I think you might be able to get it if you just give yourself barely enough. Maybe not, but you could, once you get here, you can get in quietly. So they might not expect you to be here already. Yeah, that's one little skill jump. I think the other one here to get into window is up here. So we make our way here. Another little skill jump is that you get up here and you get on this rail. And then again, you're going to use your mouse and your momentum. You're going to let go of W when you're in midair, and this time we're going to the left, so we're going to hold A. So we're going to jump. And then I crouch jump here just to get my head a little bit lower, and that helps. If you want to be safe, you can land on here and jump up. But yep, these are some skill jumps, how to air strafe, I think is the proper terminology. I don't know what I called it before. But where you hold the button to turn and you move your mouse in the same direction. And that lets you get a lot more momentum to the right than you normally would be able to. And you can get these jumps very consistently. But yeah, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any other tips, please feel free to let me know. You know, I'm always learning myself. If you made it this far, leave a like, subscribe, and if you learned anything cool, let me know. But other than that, that's going to do it. Thank you. Bye-bye.